Hello and welcome to Halftime. I'm your host for today, Charlotte Morton, filling in for Serona. I'm joined by Parth and Patrick. Today is our season finale and we've got a great show lined up for you.
This week, we take a look at the W League draft, visit the MCG for the first T20 of the cricket season, visit the dodgeball arena, and sit down with the assistant coach for the men's national dodgeball team.
And of course, we'll look at all the latest headlines and what's trending on social media.
But first, let's look at the top headline for the week. Discussions about the danger of concussions in the AFL have been sparked again after former number one pick Paddy McCartan was delisted by St Kilda in order to deal with his concussion issues. The decision was mutual after McCartan was diagnosed with a convergent spasm as the result of his concussions, causing severe issues with his vision. McCartan is optimistic about playing football again, however no timeline has been set for his return. Guys, what do you think about the issues of concussions in this game?
Yeah, it's a very big issue, isn't he? Paddy McCartan can't drive, he can't see light. It's really affected him, and I think we need to take a serious look at it.
Yeah, what's even more concerning for me is that he even admitted on radio, just after he was delisted, that he deliberately did worse on his baseline test, you know, the concussion test before the season. So then when they do a follow-up test throughout the season, his standard would be lower, so he'd be able to pass it. So I think what's the issue here is that maybe the system itself is broken. Of course, concussions happen regularly, but the fact that players can fudge their tests, that's something that really has to be investigated.
Yeah, definitely. If you can fudge your test, and concussions are a really serious issue, like we see in the NFL. Players just don't remember where they are. They're a massive blackout, and it causes further brain damage. Like further into their life, they will have massive brain damage. So I think we need to look at this. We need to take a really hard look at this.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's good that he's taken. It was a mutual decision to take 12 months off. I think that's a good thing, but I'm sceptical whether he'd be able to come back and play footy at all, because we have to consider his future, like whether he can actually live a good life after football. You know, we don't want to ruin his life now.
Yeah, that's true. That's massively true.
Yeah, we definitely need to have his best interests at heart. Now we head over to the W League and our reporter Margaret has the latest on everything you need to know.
With less than a month until the 2019-20 season kicks off, W League teams have been announcing new signings left, right and centre. But what are these changes, and how will they impact the game?
The biggest change this season is parity pay, with W League players receiving a minimum hourly wage for the first time ever. Other changes we hope to see sooner rather than later include an extended season, on par with the A-League's 30 rounds in final series, as well as A-League teams having a W League counterpart. Increased wages, increased number of teams, and a new salary cap of $450,000, the W League is looking to attract big international names while providing local talent a foot in the door with more roster spots.
The changes mark one of the many steps taken by the FFA to reshape the way women's soccer is perceived nationally. Other steps include the New South Wales government backing Australia's 2023 Women's World Cup bid earlier this year. The W League is looking to keep big Australian names at home, competing with other big international leagues occurring at the same time. Other leagues include the English Women's Super League, where Sam Kerr is supposedly heading to play for Chelsea, and the German Frauen Bundesliga, where Emily Gilnick currently plays, and Emily van Egmond and Elsie Knight have both played in.
The changes proposed by the Women's Council are not only to ensure that women's sport is recognised, but respected and proactive. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Margaret. Now moving on to something a little more serious, and an ABC investigation has found that more than 4,000 racehorses per year are being sent to knackeries and abattoirs, when previous statistics had indicated that only about 30 of such horses were ending up in slaughterhouses. The report has called for change on this systematic problem in the racing industry. It's pretty troubling to hear. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it is most definitely troubling. The report says that 4,000 horses are being killed each year, whereas the industry says that only 30 should be sent to the abattoirs. Yeah, massively disturbing.
Yeah, and what concerned me most when I came across the report is to find out that after retirement, when the horses are on their way to the knackeries, they're being pretty much tortured and tortured and deprived of being able to live a peaceful life. And the employees there are extremely rough and careless with the way they treat the horses. So I think there needs to be some focus on treating the horses a bit better.
I think there's also an issue in the amount of horses being bred, because the industry is very lucrative, and so it's actually a industry-wide sort of problem, because people are trying to find that next Winx and obviously for the reward. So I think that's also part of the problem.
That is true, but fortunately, a good thing that has come out of this is that Racing Victoria has pledged 25 million to rehome retired racehorses. So hopefully it's getting there. We're taking a long, hard look at things now.
Yeah, hopefully the worst is behind us and it gets better from here. So on a lighter note, we headed down to the last T20 at the MCG between Australia and Sri Lanka to gauge the excitement amongst the fans. We're here at the MCG for the final T20 ahead of a big cricket season coming up. We canvassed the thoughts of the fans before the game. So what's your name?
CK.
And why are you dressed up like this?
Mate, we love our country, mate.
And who do you think's going to win tonight?
Definitely, it's Sri Lanka, mate.
Sri Lanka's it's going to win.
I think I had a look there, $1.08, so I think they're a massive chance, mate.
Oh, maybe Sri Lanka.
By how much?
200 runs.
I hope Sri Lanka. I will support the underdog.
I think Aussies will win, probably 60 runs.
And who are you most excited to watch tonight?
I think probably Warner again, Steve Smith, killing it.
Kusal Chani.
Malinga, because I think this is going to be his last game at MCG.
Who do you think's going to score the most runs?
I don't know, maybe Maxwell, maybe?
Maxwell's not playing. Who do you think the man of the match is going to be?
Hopefully Malinga.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know.
Pretty sure it'll be Warner.
Yeah?
I'll go Smith.
No, can't predict.
Okay, well that's all from the MCG. All the fans are filing in now. They're all very excited, mostly Sri Lankan supporters coming in for the final T20 to set up a big cricket season. Back to you in the studio.
Great to see the cricket season back in action. Recently, thousands of people the world over celebrated Halloween, and these dodgeballers were no different. Seb headed over to this Halloween-themed dodgeball competition.
Most people are only familiar with dodgeball in the schoolyard, but the Australian Dodgeball Federation has been around for nearly 5 years. Just before they head off to the national championships in Mexico, the Federation held a Halloween-themed dodgeball competition by popular demand to raise money for the national team.
It's run for a few years on and off. It's just give the people what they want, I suppose. People at Dodgeball love a few quirky things and coming out and having some fun, and a little bit of dressing up never hurt anyone.
All of the work done by the team is completely voluntary.
Everyone who works for the ADF is completely 100% volunteer. So we've got a board of staff.
Competitors came from all across the country to join in the fun, with some outrageous costumes as well.
It's just fun. Yeah. It makes it a bit more lighthearted and a bit of the competitiveness aside, particularly when you have teams that do this.
Yeah, we don't have to try quite as hard.
Most people join dodgeball for a bit of fun, but soon develop a passion for it.
So originally it was a joke. My friends made a team without me and I was really offended, so I thought, you know what, I'm good at sport, so I'll make my own team, and it sort of spiralled from there.
While the competition wasn't easy for everyone, others decided to put all their skills on display.
Thanks, Seb. We are now joined by the assistant coach for the Australian men's dodgeball team, James Morris. Thank you for joining us, James.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
So how long have you been involved in dodgeball?
Well, I've been playing dodgeball for around approximately 5 years now. It was a great way to get into it early. I was studying at La Trobe at the time. Friend invited me to play dodgeball, one of my chess playing friends. Never looked back since. It's been a really fun experience.
And how difficult has it been to get to the national level in this game, in dodgeball?
Well, it's been a while, yeah. I'm only coaching, so I wouldn't say I'm playing just yet. But yeah, you have to be pretty experienced to know exactly what you're doing. So, yeah.
And how much recognition would you say is involved in dodgeball in Australia?
Not as much as we'd like. Hopefully we can expand it a lot more, because it's a really inclusive game. I think the more you get to play it, the more you enjoy it, and the more you realise just how much fun you can have playing it. It's that does have a bad rep sometimes for being a bit brutish in some ways, but if you meet dodgeball players and you meet the dodgeball community, you realise just how nice and forthcoming they are.
So how much time do you actually put into the sport and into the team?
So currently we train twice a week. We run these training sessions. We had national training camps because There are players on the team from all across Australia, in Melbourne, New South Wales and Adelaide, or South Australia. So we bring once every couple of months, we'd bring everyone together for a big weekend camp. We'd go through all the strategies, how we're going to play, we'd do some training drills. We run these training drills individually in each state for the entire year. Also, we can get ready for our big tournament. So,
could you describe the tournament a bit more? What tournament is it?
Okay, so the big tournament I'm talking about is the World Championship in Mexico. It'll be held in November. One of the biggest tournaments yet. Traditionally, the other countries that are very good at dodgeball are countries like America, Canada and Malaysia. They're all very accomplished dodgeball nations, and we're hoping to get one over them this year.
So you're an assistant coach at the moment. What are some of your career goals looking forward for dodgeball?
Well, as an assistant coach, I'm just happy to be involved in the team and making sure that we can win gold this year. Ideally, not to come for my good friend Nico, but head coaching is a possibility, maybe even playing. But at the moment, I'm just really happy to be helping the team go forward into this coming tournament, and we'll see where we go from there.
We hope you win gold this year.
Yeah. Thanks, James, for chatting with us today. It's now time to head over to Patrick for our social media roundup.
Thanks, Charlotte. This week we're taking sport back to the basics in the roundup as we focus simply on winning and losing. Let's kick things off with the NFL, where the New England Patriots have started the season with a phenomenal winning streak. And the Patriots' dominance hasn't just produced the goods on field, but also made its way into the real measure of success, meme culture. The way the current dynasty is going, it doesn't look like the Patriots will be anywhere near the bottom for a long time to come. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the Golden State Warriors over in the NBA. They've had a rough start to the season after copping some hefty early defeats, and the Twitterverse has been brutal as usual. Look, I don't know what's more embarrassing, having your own star player admit the team needs to recreate everything, or being compared to a basketball side from the northern suburbs of Victoria. Speaking of teams all too familiar with the feeling of losing, there's surely no better candidate than Carlton. But for once, there's actually a bit of optimism around the Blues camp, thanks to the new direction under coach David Teague, the return of Eddie Betts, and the club's aim to reach 75,000 members. Now, considering the Blues had 64,000 members sign up this year, 75,000 feels a little ambitious, although it's probably a better chance than Levi Casbolt ever hitting an actual target. But while Blues fans might be hyped for the future, not everyone is aboard, because after 20 years of patience and suffering, long-time sponsor Nike has announced it will cease being Carlton's apparel partner at the end of the 2020 season. That's all for social media. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Patrick. That's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us and for tuning in this season.
We enjoyed bringing you stories from young, aspiring athletes to all major sporting events across the globe.
Yeah, we certainly have. We look forward to seeing you next season when Halftime returns to cover all things sports. Until next time, see you later.